I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados. We're back with another video. As always, we're going to be jumping into the charts, seeing what's happening week over week, like we have been so far, to see again what's happening with overall sentiment, seeing how we can continue staying as profitable as possible. And I do these videos to hold myself accountable, but I do think that it's reasonable to share with you guys, again, what it takes to, again, like be prepared in this market, right? It's pretty boring sometimes. These videos can get long sometimes, but it's important to always ask yourself, have your own system of holding yourself accountable, and again, be as profitable as possible. That's why we're here. Let's be serious. But again, enough jibber jabber. Let's jump right in, right? So we see Bitcoin with the weekly candle looking extremely strong, right? So I expected a drop earlier, but as you can see, since the last video I've made, we've pretty much taken liquidity from both sides. And right now, it's quite interesting because after this weekly close, you can definitely see momentum pushing to the upside. We don't have any bearish divergence yet here on the weekly time frame, but it may start, right? So it's very interesting to see how this is going to unfold. I would love to see new all-time highs. Again, I am skeptical that that will happen, and at the same time, I'm ready for it to happen. And the reason why I say that is because I am exposed to the altcoin market heavily because again, total is very bullish. When you look at total three, this is extremely bullish. I think we're going to be flying up here to a $673 billion market cap in terms of total three. So that's excluding Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then total two is already making its way up because of Ethereum kind of moving up here, right? That's taking up a lot of this move to the upside. So all in all, I do think that this is going to continue pushing up here because again, if you look at total, this is like pretty much already pushing to the upside. And it kind of looks like, I want to say, like total three down here, right? So like total three kind of consolidates, has a little bit of a move, and then it finally breaks out. And you can kind of see that here because technically on total two, you don't really see a breakout or any type of consolidation above the range. I mean, you do get this tiny one here, but you don't really get a big move the same way that you see a big move coming out of here like you do for total three, because a lot of people didn't really believe Bitcoin was going to go on a run the way it did, which is pretty much the reason why we saw this massive move to the upside here, which kind of left a lot of people sidelined. And right now, I feel like that's the current sentiment as well. A lot of people are sidelined. A lot of people are waiting for a dip, but I believe this is going to continue going to the upside. I do believe at some point in time it's going to have to retest this level, right? So whether it's a month from now, whether it starts happening now, I do believe that we have to come back down to this level at some point in time, right? Because usually in a range there is some sort of pullback down to the low, whether that happens immediately, whether it happens slowly, whatever it decides to happen. It's something that I'm keeping in mind. That doesn't mean that we're not in a degree here where we can have another five waves up. And again, it's going to be just a matter of patience, right? So you don't have to know exactly every single move and every single point in the market, so long as you're monitoring, what's happening overall. Like I said, I'm positioned in altcoins. I believe that altcoins are going to continue running here because total three is bullish. So that could just mean that Bitcoin stalls out here. It doesn't really matter to me in my strategy. And speaking of altcoins, when we look at ETH, it's very bullish as well, right? So this is going to continue running up to 3,500. I don't think it's going to stop. Some people are saying 3K. My number is still 3.5 because again, this is all air. Okay. I believe it's going to go right through. Now there was a stop at this level, which makes sense because it kind of runs into here, right? So it makes a little bit of sense, but I do believe we're going to probably start running further and higher soon rather than later. So we'll see what happens. It's going to require some patience there. But again, at the same time, ETH BTC is not as bullish as I would like it to be. Although, we'll have to see how this closes because again, I do not want to see another low. This should hold, like this orange line. I'd hope so. And maybe this just kind of flips back over and continues running back to the upside because this was a massive green candle that we saw that kind of led us to believe that this level was going to hold, but it didn't. So again, we'll just have to see. It's just about patience at this point. But again, at the same time, I don't believe that a lot of things that happened in the last cycle and even a cycle before are going to always repeat the same exact way, guys. It's not going to be that straightforward, right? There's always intricacies involved. There's always, again, whales trying to trick you, and they know what people are looking at, right? And that's kind of the name of the game. So you kind of want to look at things with, like thinking about how whales would act, essentially, right? Like you don't want to just believe that, hey, listen, Bitcoin runs first and then Ethereum runs and then altcoins run. Yes, that is typically true. Ideally, that's how it happens. But, you definitely want to try to be one step ahead of the curve because, again, you don't want to get yourself caught with your pants down, holding the bag, and, it's over, right? So, again, I'm just trying to exercise caution. Even if that isn't the case, it's good to just have an idea of what's going to happen, how things are going to play out, and it's going to be fun to see this rally because again, everything is going to go to the upside once this goes crazy here, right? Because you can only imagine the headlines. There's like an Denkun or upgrade for Ethereum, so like the narrative is there. The ETFs are getting delayed for Ethereum. Same thing with what we saw for Bitcoin. So ETF is probably going to get approved. We're probably going to see that happen too. And again, it will be fun to see this all happen in real time. This is pretty much your warning video, right? And also another thing here, this is what I was talking about last month, and even in my Bitcoin videos, is how stablecoins must go sideways in order for alts to pretty much run, right? So as you can see here, you know, alts pretty much go sideways here for 140 days. And, that's pretty much also when altcoin season took place from January to May of 2021. Right now, we are seeing a breakdown, and this is exactly what we want to see, a massive rejection back into this range. And I want to just continue to see this chop. And we have to see altcoins start running here because that will be a great sign for us to believe that, hey, alts are going to run. They're going to be favored over Bitcoin. And again, all signs are pointing to that, which makes me believe that we're going to see the run that we want to see. And again, this is another one controversial. XRP is very, very interesting because the position that it's in. Ideally, it's not the best coin you want to hold, but I'm bullish on it because of many other reasons. We see a lot of the overreach by the government. It's kind of hated a lot by a lot of people, but it's not going to be crypto Twitter that buys XRP, guys. It's going to be traditional finance like holders and bankers that really jump into XRP more than others do, simply because there is something that you can see and understand of how Ripple works. And again, Ripple is a one-stop shop. Lots of controversial opinions on that. Again, they just acquired a company called Medico, so they're doing custody, they're doing cross-border payments, they have a liquidity hub. They're basically becoming the Amazon of crypto. And again, the SEC is trying to hold them back after fighting against them for about 3 years now, right? Or three and a half, right? It's just quite insane to see this. And you know, because of that, we've seen consolidation here for literally 2,000 plus days. This is actually insane. When this gets moving, whether it's to the upside or the downside, I believe it's an upside, this will be the most explosive run you will ever witness. Okay. This is basically one of those charts that's either a boom or a bust, right? Because this is basically a range, guys, whether you like to agree with it or disagree with it. This is essentially a massive range and it's going to break out to one side. And whenever it decides to break out to either direction, that's going to be the direction that stays for quite a while, right? That trend is going to be the trend for a very long time because this is a 2,000-day range. So when this breaks, it's going to be absolutely historic because it's either going to break to the upside and it's going to be a super success story or to the downside. But I do believe that's going to break to the upside. There's no reason to believe that it's going to break to the downside right now unless some new news breaks out. But again, we're holding the green box. This is a critical support resistance level. As you can see, it's either been a rejection level or a support level historically. And right now, we can see that it's holding it. So as long as it holds it, very bullish. If it breaks below, obviously very bearish. You know, try to trade the chart without using any emotion. So we'll see what happens. And that's that for XRP, right? So there's a lot of other alts that are looking very good too. We see a lot of new narratives. Beam is one I've been showing on my Twitter. Very, very bullish. A range here for quite a while. And then you see this liquidity grab at the low, which is basically your sign that, hey, listen, I'm taking your stop loss. After I take your stop loss, I'm going to run away with the money, right? So basically you see a continue range, continue range, continue range, and then you see a massive breakout to the upside, right? So it's very interesting to see charts like this. Other coins that I think are very bullish are coins like Root. This is very, very bullish in my opinion. The structure there, you're seeing a, head and shoulders, right? Inverse. So I think this starts running soon. So again, we'll see how that plays out. But I think this can easily go to $1 for Root token. And another token I'm very bullish on is Woo. This is another one that I drew up. Same concept as XRP. Find the level for Ethereum and also for XRP that I showed. And you can clearly see this line that I drew as a pivotal level because it either bounces off it or rejects off of it. Right now, we've turned that resistance into support for the first time since I want to say February of 2022, which is over what? How many days? Um, 700 days. Very interesting. And now, do we hold this level? It would be very nice to see a break above the previous high to confirm that this level is now a support. And again, across the market, there's a lot of altcoins that look very good. And it's just exciting, right? I know right now that the narrative is a lot of Solana tokens. So I hold a lot of SPL tokens, but we also caught sold all the way from $30, running all the way up to 120. And I was hoping it went lower than where it went to, but sometimes you don't always get those entries, guys. No one speaks about this stuff, but hey, listen, stuff happens sometimes. But a lot of altcoins are bullish. Look across the board. There's lots of setups to pretty much take advantage of. But I want to look at the stock market too. This is insane. We're seeing a new high here, 5,026. And I don't know what to say here except this is absolutely insane. I am just getting slightly worried here that, if crypto doesn't start running soon, this will probably start dropping soon. We also saw the DXY on a massive rampage running to the upside here for a consecutive of 4 weeks. Now we did get a little bit of a wick here, so I hope this does start breaking down. And once it breaks down, that'll probably be our sign that hey, listen, if we're not in actual like bullish season or alt season for a bunch of our cryptos, then that would be a sign for you know pretty much concern, right? It'd be a sign for concern simply because whenever this is going to the upside, most of the time you don't see crypto do very well, right? It's actually the bear market when this was actually going up. And you can go ahead and look at it yourself, but what we want to see for the most part is we've seen this go down. We saw altcoins and Bitcoin do very well when this was going down. DXY, all in all, in this overall trend, it's going to be very interesting because I would like to see a new low. That would be very cool because that means that there's more space to run for alts and Bitcoin and crypto. But if we don't see that and we see like some type of retracement where we make a higher low, that means that we're probably gonna see a big sell-off for crypto stocks and all types of other risk-on assets. So it'll be very, very fun to watch. But again, something that I just look at every single week because it's very, very important. And the last thing I want to talk about is gold. Gold is very interesting. We saw a nasty rejection up here, and you don't want to see gold break to the upside because that means that the stock market is going to get ready to go higher. And over here again, stock market looks very bullish, which is great. We don't want to see gold pretty much breaking out as well, making a new high because that is a sign something is breaking and gold is taking over, but it has not reflected on the rest of the markets yet. So again, if gold is going up, that most likely means that crypto and the rest of the market is going to drop. Um, but again, this is another range that's very beautiful when this finally does break out. I can only imagine how high it's going to go. Um, easily 3,500 is going to get tapped when we grab this high down to the low here. Let's take a fib extension. Um, there we go. It'll probably easy run up to 2,300 per ounce. And again, that's going to be fun to watch. But at the same time, it means that crypto is going to get absolutely annihilated if that happens. So we'll see what happens. But again, something to monitor. We want to see gold break down. We saw a big rejection here, which is a great sign for us and for pretty much crypto. So, I mean, for the most part, sentiment also is very interesting simply because we did see a lot of people get super excited that, Bitcoin was on an absolute rampage. We saw a massive here, massive run here recently. Again, this happened in the past like 3 days. Just absolute, you know, um, savagery, just moving to the upside. MicroStrategy also bought more Bitcoin. BlackRock is showing it more. They have, webinars and they're talking about how to buy it and this and that. It's just kind of interesting to see this all happen. But again, I am kind of undecided on whether or not a all-time high is going to happen or not. But it will be fun because again, if the all-time high does take place, that means altcoins will go crazy and with face melting gains. At the same time, it will be interesting to see whether or not we do get that all-time high because it's not supposed to be as straightforward every single cycle with how things play out. And my biggest concern with Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you guys this before I wrap this video up. I actually usually only share this when I do my monthly videos for Bitcoin. It's actually this chart right here, right? So Something to keep in mind, do not get butt hurt. But this is what it is. There's been clearly 5 waves to the upside, and our A wave has crossed 3, right? So usually what that means is that there's a move to the upside here. This is our B leg up before a bigger move to the downside. Now again, this like B wave here can get invalidated, and it can play out in many different corrections, right? It can literally play out as a flat, right? Which doesn't mean that goes all the way lower than A. It can play out as an expanded flat, which looks very similar to what I drew here. It can turn out to be a triangle, right? Who knows what happens, right? It can turn out to be a many different kinds of corrections, double combos, impulse failures, whatever it is, right? The idea here is that we are losing strength, right? Because again, A wave crossed into wave three. That's the first time that ever happened in Bitcoin history, where a previous all-time high was touched. And whether you like to believe it or not, but that is a sign of weakness. Okay, so we'll see what happens. It's something that I'm just watching out for, and not trying to be just a moon boy, but also try to look at what's happening in front of us. Try to use logic, reason in the data in front of us to just try to come to a conclusion that is again helping us because again we just want to make sure that we understand all risks in the market. So something to watch out for, even though I am rooting for new all-time highs, right? So we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for making it to the end. Like and sub if you have not already. And as always, haro haro haro.